Hey everybody, it's John and it is Live Fire Monday, Mantis Monday today. We're out here on the range and I have a crew here with me. First of all, the wonderful and talented Mrs. Asp, Laura, my good friend Justin. He hosts our house church and is fairly new to concealed carry. Jonathan Bloom from Refiner's Firearms, who is an absolute stud and carries a 19 by God 11 as Jesus and John Moses Browning intended. My friend John Espy from SWAT Ministries from Chiang Rai, Thailand. We wish we could do more face shooting of people who were the source of the problems in your ministry, but we can't. He helps rescue underage girls from sex slavery. And today, here's my thought. We have three fairly new shooters. John obviously is a firearms instructor and very accomplished himself. So I think what I want to work on today and get a reminder of is safe and efficient holstering of the firearm. The most dangerous thing you do on the range is put the gun away. And so, you know, we always joke about when you're flying in an airplane, right? When the plane's up there at altitude, it's really safe. When the plane's on the ground, it's really safe. In that transition, when you're getting up and when you're coming down, that's when problems are where you run into them. So we're going to do this safely and effectively today. We're going to start in dry fire, go to live fire. It's going to be a good time to remind you of safe and effective handling. The new Mantis X10 firearms performance system has all the goodness of the original, plus holster draw analysis and recoil analysis. It's a fantastic upgrade and I recommend it highly. So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to verify what condition I find this gun in, okay? So when I clear a firearm, when I'm going to look at clear, so what I do is if I take the gun out of a holster or pick it up off of a table, I first of all look and see if it has a source of ammunition in it, okay? Take that ammo out. This one doesn't right now. I stick my finger in there for verification because there's a small possibility somebody could have jammed something farther in there. Not anymore. Now I lock the slide to the rear. I do that by using pressure on my thumb on the slide stop lever, okay? Up and either side on this gun. Then I take this, and I usually want people to do this from the back, pull this back, and let it go, and it'll lock to the rear. Okay, now it's locked to the rear. Now I'm going to verify and look in there and see if there's a cartridge in there and put my finger in there too. Can I see that and see it? Now I do something a little bit crazy. I do an extra step. I actually look away, go look at something else and come back and see it again. One more check. Now the reason that I do that is the worst sound in the world is a click when you want to bang. If I had to shoot somebody and I got a click instead, terrible. Second worst is a bang when you wanted to click, right? Because now somebody could get hurt. So then the next thing I do is I ask somebody else, if I have somebody else around, to tell me what they see, okay? So I'm not gonna say this thing, hey, can you verify that I did this right? I'm gonna ask, what do you see? Okay, so what do you see? So Laura Marie, what do you see in this gun?
Empty chamber.
Okay, so touch it with your finger as well. So you wanna put a finger down there and make sure you got nothing there, and then tilt over here. Okay, so again with a finger as well. So we verify with touch as well as eyeballs. So what do you see in this gun? Unloaded or loaded?
Unloaded.
Okay, so you see an unloaded gun, I see an unloaded gun, I feel good about that. Okay, so we're gonna start with the most dangerous thing, which is holstering the gun, all right? So it's not dangerous if you do it right, but if you're lazy with this will cause you problems, okay? So we have an unloaded gun here, but it doesn't matter, we're gonna do this with a loaded gun as well. All right, I'm going and go pew, 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 pew. I do all the pews I need to pew, right? Pew, 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 pew. Now, here's the big thing that I wanna do. I wanna get this gun back into this holster without pointing the gun at me, without pointing the gun at anybody else, and without actuating the trigger. That's the only things I want to do. Once it's in the holster, perfectly safe. It's like the plane on the ground. Gun out here is like the plane in the air, okay? Gun in between is where I have problems. So if you're carrying Appendix, I'm gonna start with Appendix, who I am. We do a couple things here, right? So we're gonna first start by bringing the gun back to the position where we put our hands together, all right? So this is our first position. Take this support hand off, clear my cover garment, and look and see. Okay, visually inspect with my eyeballs. Is this safe? Is there anything in here? No, okay? So I get this cover garment out of the way and get this hand up nice and high. Now you go, wait a minute, John, I'm too chunky for that. Well, I'm fat too, okay? So you sometimes gotta move the chub, all right? Now then, I want my thumb on this gun, in all guns really, I want my thumb on the back of the gun. And now here's why I want my thumb on the back of the gun. If I have a hammer like this gun does, it'll block that hammer from moving. If I don't, maybe I have a Glock with a striker control device, this is a very good thing. Carrying a 1911, obviously, right? If it's cocked and locked, then that keeps that hammer from dropping if I have a problem. Now then, with Appendix, here's a big problem. I'm gonna step forward here a little bit so I don't do this to you guys. And one of the things that I see people do is the gun's pointed out here and then they go this way. Back to the holster. Well, of course, if I was standing where I was before and I did that, then I'm pointing a gun at you, and that's a bad day. So what I do instead is this is all cleared, is I bring this back and touch this gun my thumb to my pec. All right, so I'm right back to myself, and now I turn the gun horizontal, right? Now, of course, this is the gangsta lean, right? Okay, fine, that's cool, but when I do that, now all I have to do is just point the gun straight down. Make sense? So I just go straight this way, so I'm not pointing the gun at you. On the other side, if I would have gone this way. So, again, clear, visually inspect. Hand to me, turn it over. Now then, I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna step back with my strong side foot and push my hips forward. And what that does is that takes the holster and the muzzle of the holster and it points it away from my nether regions. This is a very good thing. Now, I'm gonna keep my thumb on me and slide it down to the holster and just barely tap the outside. Notice what that does to the muzzle? So now the muzzle is pointed away from me. Do you notice? I can't. So one of the things that's a problem that I see people do, I'm gonna push the gun out here, is they put this way because they go fishing, and now the gun is pointing into my nether regions. Nope, out here, tap. Cool, now it's there. Now all I have to do is lift up until the muzzle clears the holster and no force at all. See how easy I put that gun back in the holster? There's no need to go and jam that gun back in the holster. That just causes problems, all right? Because, and it's a one last check, that when it's out here doing its thing, okay, cool, I go here, here, that, see it, tap. Now, if I'm slowly holstering and I feel any resistance, I stop and I pull the gun back out. Wait a minute, what's going on? Something's wrong here, okay? So if I don't feel any resistance, cool, let the gun go. Make sense? Okay, when it's time to get the gun out of the holster, really doing the same thing. Okay, cool, I'm gonna, whatever I wanna do, I'm gonna grab this cover garment, get it the heck out of the way. I'm going to grip and get a full grip on the gun after I've cleared this and gotten it out of the way. Then the gun comes straight up and out. I don't go like this with the gun or whatever, which seems kind of, you know, rudimentary. Gun comes out into hands, drives out, and does the work that I need it to do. Make sense? We'll talk about the other stuff in a bit. So if I'm strong side, so I have a holster on here on my strong side as well, I'm gonna have to switch over to right-handed in order to do it. But the same exact principles happen with a couple of minor tweaks for where we are. So I'm gonna drive the gun up, pew, 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 do all my pew that I need to do. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna land the plane. When's the danger? When I'm landing the plane. But I'm gonna do the exact same thing in basic principle. I'm gonna bring the gun back here, thumb over, come over and clear that cover garment and visually inspect. I wanna see, is there anything in there? No, there's not. This is where strong side gets people in trouble because they don't have the flexibility to do this. So this is, and also why I don't like behind the hip carry, especially on the range. The farther behind you get, the harder it is to actually visually inspect, okay? I get it, that's comfortable for a lot of people to carry there. It's just really hard to visually inspect, and you have to because otherwise bad stuff happens. The last video I've seen of somebody shooting themselves on a range was a crappy Remora holster kept behind the hip, and he fished around until he shot himself, okay? Bad juju. So again, I'm gonna come here, grab a hold of this, clear it all the way, and verify. Stick the thumb on me. Now, here's a little difference. I'm going to step my strong side foot in, so then that way I'm not pointing a gun at it as the gun comes down, okay? So I then come down, tap the outside of the holster, because now where's the holster? Where's the gun pointed? Not at my leg, okay? And not at me. Clear and safely, easily, carefully put the gun in the holster and let it go. So you see how the same principles, I don't turn this one over here because the gun's got to be oriented this way is really the only change. Come back out, tap the outside and go. Make sense? All right, so let's practice that a little bit. So here's what we're going to do. I have two guns for you guys. You have yours already on? Cool. So we're gonna do this back here, dry fire. Because I don't care about, you know, you just want to see the target, whatever. We're just going to practice holstering and unholstering a few times so I can see you do it, make sure that you're doing it safely, and give you some feedback. There's no reason to go up there and be out under the sun doing that. We can do that from right here. Make sense? So I'm just going to take my time, clear this, get a full grip. If you want to look at it, that's fine because we're just learning here, right? And then gun up and out. You can get a trigger press. Great. That was fine. Whatever. Reset your trigger when that happens. Great. Now, safely. Back in the holster. Make sense? Just do 10 or 15 reps. So just remember that extra tap to the holster gives you a reminder. Point this gun away from me, kick my hips out in front of me, and it gives me a little ability to just take my time. It makes me slow down. I tend to change my hands when the gun is up and out like this, and I bring the gun back here when I bring the gun in, because I'm going to administrative mode. Okay. Okay? Then I take the other hand off, pop this, check, turn. Take your time to the holster. Okay. Very good. Very well. All right, let's everybody grab a magazine and we'll go down range and we'll do a few shots of this live fire. Okay, so we're just gonna start way down here at the 3-yard line, right? So we're just gonna come all the way down here to this little rock. Okay, well, there's not one on that side. See that little rock? So again, I just want you guys to be aware. So now we're gonna actually do it with actual projectiles, all right? So how much do you want to point a loaded gun at your person? 0. Let's remember the rules of firearm safety, okay? So 3 rules of firearm safety that we're using today. We always keep firearms pointed in a safe direction. When the gun's out of the holster, either down towards the ground in front of you or towards the berm is a safe direction. Don't point the gun at your own feet, okay? When the gun goes back in the holster, I want you to make sure that you're very careful not to point it at your person, okay? Or at your partners. Second one, we keep our finger off the trigger until we're ready to fire. Simple as that. We're just gonna keep our finger off the trigger until we're ready to fire. So that means that high and along the slide, right? High and in the register. For those of us who are lefties, we don't get to put it in the ejector. We don't have that, but you know, just high on the slide. And then we keep firearms unloaded until we're using them. We're out here on the range, so they're in use, okay? So I'm just gonna show you a couple times. So to load the gun, for those of you who haven't done this in a while, again, so I need you to stand here. I'm gonna get the gun out, trust me, okay? So we're going hot, range is hot, eyes and ears, okay? So I'm gonna take my source of ammunition and I'm gonna put it in the gun. So I turn the gun, notice that my gun's still pointed in a safe direction, right? So you'll see a lot of gun guys on the range and they'll do this, they'll bring this gun up like this. That's not the devil, I'm not angry about it, but where's my firearm pointed? Yeah, and when I load it, guess what? If God forbid something bad happens, bad things are coming. So for our purposes today, just keep the gun pointed towards the berm. Because if something bad happens here, it goes into the berm and we're okay. All right, so take that, smack that in there like it stole something from you, and then tug it a little bit. It should stay in there, right? If it doesn't, now you got a problem. Now I'm gonna come over the top, grab a hold of the gun, and don't baby this gun. See people all the time, they go, and they really want to be nice to it. Don't be nice to it. It's going to make explosions and make bad things happen. So I push and let it go. And now the gun comes back into battery and it's ready to do what it does. Okay? So now this gun's loaded. Okay. So again, same thing. Now I'm just going to get this gun up. Now I'm just going to maybe take a shot. And I don't even care where you're shooting at right now. I'm just going to take a shot. Cool. The gun went bang. Great. Now I go slow down, finger high and along the slide. Thumb over, clear my cover garment, everything looks good. Turn, tap, easy. See how I didn't point a gun at myself? I never pointed a gun at myself. People say, oh, you point a gun at your junk while your appendix, while you're holstering. No, you don't. If you do it, you're wrong. So you're all 3 here at the 3-yard line. I want you to safely draw your firearm and load it, and then go ahead and take a shot, and then safely holster it loaded. Good. So careful, safely. Now you can never say that you haven't drawn from the holster.
There you go.
Right?
I like
Got something new. Good. Okay, so now again, guys, now the gun's in the holster. I just want you to work a few reps of this. Take your time. I clear my cover garment way up out of the way. I keep this hand out of the way. Get a hold of the gun. Gun comes out and is on target. Drop that and put my hand on it. Drive up. Got it. Yep, gun does what I want it to do. Cool. Now I'm gonna thumb, back, take my time, step. That took me a minute, right? Just do the rest of the magazine that way. You got 14 more tries. Safely, carefully, easily. Nice, John. Good. Now take your time. Slow down back to the holster, right? Good, dear. You're shooting pretty well. Carefully, safely, easily. Good. Take your time. Step that strong leg back. Other side. That's not your strong leg. So I'd really like to see you when you go back to the holster, step that left leg back a little bit because it'll just clear it out of your way. Don't have to be a ton. Just 6 inches.
If you got to shoot him, there's a good chance he's shooting you back, right?
Yeah.
So you want to
Cool.
shoot.
Now you're
move to
empty,
cover.
so drop your
You wanna shoot
magazine
your
out.
feet and
You're
your
gonna drop the
body
magazine
and
by. All right, so guys, hear me on this. Practice safe holstering, okay? Take the time to learn it correctly. I see so many people that don't. This is the #1 thing in classes that I teach as an instructor and that I take as a student that we have to train people to, that we have to go back and forth again and again and again. You do this in your dry fire, you do it in your live fire when you go to the range, because I mean, you might say, well, they don't let me draw at my range. They will at least one time, because you got to get the gun out of the holster to put it on the table. So when it goes back into the holster, do it safely and practice this, guys. Never take a moment off from safe gun handling. That's today's Active Self-Protection Extra Mantis Monday video. Thank you to Mantis for sponsoring this content. And guys, do it safe.